Welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable. I'm Sarah Vantine here with Ted Ings. Today we have Derek Simonds of Numa with us, and we're going to be talking about how AI is fueling fixed ops profitability. Exciting conversation, Ted.
It is, Sarah. Derek has been telling us about AI for the longest time. It's here, it's now. Derek Simons, welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
Ted and Sarah, thank you. I am always thrilled and delighted to be on the Fixed Ops Roundtable and looking forward to sharing some hard data with your viewers today that I think they can take back to the stores and start implementing on.
Well, Sarah and I took a little bit of a peek before we got started in the green room. It looks exciting. So, Derek, with that, the show is yours.
All right, let's do this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you through three profit opportunities that are in front of every single service department in the United States. So let's just run through this real quick. When we look at the most profitable service departments, they're not working harder. That's not what they're doing. They're seeing something that everybody else is missing. And one of the big challenges is it's hard to analyze vast quantities of data when you're living in it, right? It's that forest for the trees things. So we analyzed 400 million conversations that have taken place inside of Numa over the last 4 years across all of our dealerships, thousands and thousands of rooftops, because we wanted to see where is revenue won or lost. And there are three things that we identified that are critical across every single dealership that we engage with. Number one is at point of scheduling. When that customer calls to book an appointment, you have the opportunity to lose the total appointment and not even get them in. You have the opportunity to get the appointment, or you have the opportunity to get the appointment plus some additional revenue. We're going to look at that, and we're going to show you how you can produce additional revenue just from the recommendation during the appointment scheduling. The second one's during the visit. Look, heat cases, negative sentiment, all of that is actually a core driver of revenue loss. We call it silent defection. These are the customers that are upset, that don't complain to executive management, and then just disappear. They never come back. And then after the sale, what happens as we are continuing to engage with that customer through the life cycle, that marketing, that messaging, how do we get them back on a consistent basis? And once we get them back, how do we make sure that we do the right work for them? So let's look at this hidden revenue that's in every single booking. When I talk about added service to us is actually targeted. It's relevant to the customer. It's not just a random, hey, do you want to get wiper blades when you're in here, right? It actually means something to the customer. And when the phone rings, you've really got only 3 minutes to recommend the right additional service once you get talking to a customer. If you look at NADA averages, the average appointment call lasts between 6 and 8 minutes, and they're actually only talking to a dealership employee for 3 to 5 minutes. And so your team has to act and has to act quick. The problem that we see is that the customer's full story lives in 4 different systems. It could be in a service CRM, it could be in the OEM. Like we might have to go look up recalls in Toyota system. It could be in the DMS, right? We're looking up declined service. It might not be in the DMS. It might be actually in the inspection tool because it doesn't push declined service back to the DMS, right? This is an ongoing problem that we see with the tools when they're not connected all the way back to the DMS. So unfortunately, these aren't synced. And so when a customer gets on the phone to schedule an appointment, it's very hard for the person that's scheduling the appointment to know, hey, what's the recall status? What's the declined service status from last time? What's the maintenance due that they should be doing at this time? So that recommendation exists. It's already in your data. Your BDC team or your appointment setter, they just can't reach it in 3 minutes, right? And so we actually see that 1 out of every 2 ROs that comes into the shop had declined work from the last visit. 50% of the cars that hit the lane actually had declined service from the last visit that we didn't talk about.
Huge.
We also see that it takes 3 minutes, like I said, when they're talking, and the systems aren't synced. So here's what happens. Customer calls in for an oil change. When you're using an AI tool, it can pull the VIN history, it can pull recalls, it can pull declined services. It looks at all of that. It also looks at mileage and campaign eligibility for things that are coming up, right? Are they due for their 30,000, their 60,000, their 45,000 Schedule A service, right? And then it's going to recommend those additional services targeted and direct that are relevant to the customer. That's what makes the big difference, right? And so we see that the average RO that we see is 225. When the AI makes recommendation, we're actually picking up an additional $235 per repair order. And that's 104% median uplift.
It's that big.
It's that big. It's that big. And the thing is, again, targeted, relevant. right? Data driven, not just a random upsell. I'm going to show you how this also plays into marketing when we get to the end, when we start talking about marketing. But this is powerful. Like, this is literally game changing for dealerships. Because if you could do this, right? If you did this on every RO, obviously you just doubled your profits in a month,
Yes,
right?
yes,
But
yes.
you're not going to get it on every RO. But that's the reason why we see when it makes a recommendation, the average is $235. This can be done at dealerships without having to use AI. We actually work with a dealer group in Texas that does this through their BDC. They're running the same kind of numbers, but they have everything in one system. They've done a really good job at making sure they can get all that information from their DMS when the customer calls in. So this can be done by a human. Let's just make sure that we know what the customer needs. We can pull it up, we can communicate, and the team knows how to ask for it. So when you look at this, if you can get 20% adoption on a 500 RO month store, that's another $23,000 per month in
Mm,
service revenue. And that's
mm,
big. That's game changing for where we're at.
mhm.
So our focus with the AI is automating this process. But like I said, anybody can do this at the store with their BDC. All they need to do is make sure they have access to the data and that they make that presentation. All right. This next part is kind of mind blowing.
Okay.
So we're going to talk about what happens when the customer's in there during the visit. Um, when you look at what happens, and I encourage service managers to do this, call people that didn't come back for service, that defected, and find out why. And it's actually kind of frightening, right?
Mm,
Most of the customers you lose never told you why. You find it out in reviews, in Google review. They never called me back, right? You find out in your CSI score. They didn't fix it right the first time and communication was horrible. And you find out because they just don't come back, right? So most of the time, these are lagging indicators. The service is already done, right?
yes.
They got their CSI survey in the mail and they sent it back, or they got it emailed to them. So minimum, it's 3 days after they left, but it could be 10 days, 2 weeks, a month later. So the money's gone. That customer is already a defect risk. So when we look at CSI, these are all after the customer left. And 82% of the people that you leave that defect over communication, not the repair. This is nuts. It's not the repair that's causing people to defect, it's communication. We see that 40% of the negative reviews trace to a call that nobody returned. We
Hmm.
can literally trace a negative review back to a customer that called into the dealership and never got a return phone call. And 45% of owners are unhappy with their dealership service experience, but they don't tell the dealers, right? This is just the people that are kind of percolating that are out there. So when we look at this, remember, this is over 400 million conversations. What we see is that average dealer is about 133 negative conversations per thousand. Okay.
Oh,
That's about 1 in 8. A
wow.
negative conversation is not a heat case. You're going to see that in just a second. These people are frustrated. They're concerned. They're annoyed. This could escalate. A good AI program is going to flag this while it's happening so that you can get involved while the customer's still in your shop, not after you get a survey and the customer's already trashed you,
Hey,
right?
Derek, can we come
Yes.
to Sarah for some color on this? Sarah,
Let's do it.
in the BDC, in the service BDC, does this sound about right?
Oh, yes, and Derek, I'm so glad that you're addressing this because again, like this is the point in the sphere of the conversation where the customer begins that process and it's what you recognize and adapt to here that makes all the difference.
Yeah. And look, you don't have to have Numa to do this. If you've got Car Wars or Call Review or any other call recording software that's actually tagging sentiment,
Yes.
you can get to this data yourself without having an AI. Having the AI just makes it easier because it escalates it and it brings it to the appropriate person's attention instantly instead of going through reporting to find it. But there's ways to handle this. So now this is where it gets interesting to kind of what Sarah just said. When you look at the next level, we actually break out that 133. 36 out of 1,000 or 36 of the 133 are actually what we call heat cases. These are people that are potential lawsuit risk. They are a viral review risk.
Sure.
This is a customer who needs someone to act at this moment in time. This is somebody we are pushing to executive management at the store level going, hey, you got a problem, right? And this is a critical action customer. 97 out of that 133 or 97 per thousand is actually quietly frustrated. They're not yelling, they're not complaining, but they're not happy. And those are the ones that are the silent defectors that we still escalate, that we still surface, that we're not letting just get away. And you can just do very little minimal action, but a communication from a manager tends to resolve any issues these customers have. And so we're putting in front of you in that way. So if you act on the heat case, right, what we see is a 53% resolution rate on heat cases in our best performing stores. So AI triages and they get it to you, and then the fastest acting scores resolve more than half. Now, here's where it gets interesting. This is far and away, this has been documented across multiple different industries. But if you have a customer that's upset and you resolve their problem in a timely fashion, they will tell 10 to 12 people about you in a positive manner. Okay. If you don't, they're going to tell a couple of people about how crappy the experience was and maybe write a bad review. If you're just in the middle of the road, they don't tell anybody, right? So I tell people all the time, when you have a customer that's upset, this is your opportunity to create some marketing for your dealership. Think about the fact that they're going to tell 10 or 12 people about how you resolve the problem. And this becomes really crazy important, because when you look at the negative conversations that are hidden from the dealership, it represents about $200,000 at risk per dealership on a monthly basis. And this is the reason why we talk about communications, not a CSAT status or a CSAT metric. It's a revenue metric. Communication is all about revenue. The faster we respond to a customer, the more they'll spend with us. The faster we respond to the customer, the happier that they are. The longer it takes for us to respond, or if we don't respond to a customer, the negative sentiment and the negative dollars that they spend. It's just powerful. This is where we look at it and say, okay, real talk, pay attention to these customers. Don't let them become defectors. And you know what's interesting? Think about in a dealership, okay? You're in the dealership, you're an advisor, and you're actually booking 2 weeks out today for service. How concerned are you if you think somebody's going to leave, right? The people that have to drive this conversation are the executive managers. They're the ones that have to be driving that conversation. So they have to pay attention to it.
Leadership.
Now, after the sale, so we say this all the time. Every single customer that's been in your shop is an appointment waiting to happen, right? And how do we do that? Well, when we look at what we call informational marketing versus promotional marketing, we're seeing an order of magnitude improvement in the actual booking of appointments. So if you do informational, which is a reason, it's a data signal, it's a service the customer needs and they know it, we're actually seeing across all of our dealerships that are doing this, 19% of the people that we message are actually scheduling appointments and showing up at the dealership. If you look at a traditional coupon mailer or a coupon email or a coupon text message, it's a 1.9%, 1.8% booking. Okay. If you send somebody, hey, it's the spring tire event, buy 3 tires, get 1 free. Nobody comes in off of that. Do you know who uses that coupon? The advisor in the lane to try and close the customer on getting tires, right? Am I right, Ted?
That's right. That's
So
every time. Yep.
we don't get action from a customer on a promotional message. We don't. Information drives conversion, and it's powerful. So
Sarah, I want to bottle this slide. That last slide, I want to bottle that. That's so powerful.
I do too.
yeah. And I'm gonna break it down even more and tell you which campaigns are the most successful. So if you look, these are 3 things that we think are chances to bring customers back. So maintenance due. This is the biggest opportunity by volume. Every shop has hundreds and hundreds of people that have overdue maintenance. How do you get it? You mine your database, right? We see on maintenance due 16.5% schedule appointments when we message them. That's pretty powerful. Missed appointment recovery. Now, one of the big claims to fame for Numa is that we consistently run about an 89% show rate across all of our dealers with the appointments that are scheduled through our appointment agent, which is powerful. There's still 11% that didn't make it. And that's the ones that we need to be going after for missed appointment recovery, right? And so the AI is actually able to message with that customer, and we're getting a 20% schedule rate out of missed appointment recovery. And then abandoned win back. These are customers who dropped out of your service cycle that we haven't seen in 6 months, 9 months, 12 months. And the AI is still getting 6% of those, which is 3 times better than what you get from a traditional coupon mailer. So when we look at this is where it gets even better, because this is the number that the AI did by itself with no human involvement. What we see proactive dealers do, like Longo, is that they feed the remainder of those customers that did not book back into
Yeah.
their BDC. And what do? They go after them. They're doubling these rates. Longo's running 38, 39, 40% close rates on some of the opportunity marketing that they're doing. And it's because what doesn't get caught by the AI and automatically scheduled, they've got that human in the loop that's able to make that outbound call to follow up and to get the appointment. So really powerful. So
Wow.
these are 4 other little looks into some very targeted mailers that are absolutely powerful. Malfunction indicator, right? One of the things that the OEMs are doing today is that they tell us which customers had a malfunction indicator light come on their dash yesterday. We get the file from them, upload it in, AI communicates with the customer. 31.3% of those are scheduling appointments. With the AI, no human involved. It's huge. Recalls are booking right now at a 7.1%. Recalls, we only book appointments with the AI on recalls that we know we have parts availability.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, some of them are too difficult. They require a human. So we get the engagement with the customer on the recall and then push that to the human in the loop to get them to schedule it, because they need to coordinate on when that customer comes in based upon the availability of parts. Declined services. We see a 3.1% schedule. And it's not huge, but I'm giving you the real numbers.
Yeah.
If you send out a text message 36 hours after the customer leaves with a reason to come back on a declined service, and this is something anybody can do right now. I'm sure everybody on here is using Sunbit or Affirm or Dignify or somebody to offer financing to customers that can't afford it. Well, what we do is when we text the customer back, we say, hey, your safety, Ted, and the maintenance of your vehicle is of paramount importance to us. When you were last in, your service advisor had recommended the brakes. We want you to know that we have a service now, pay later program. You can click the link below to get it approved, and we'll go ahead and schedule your appointment. And we're seeing tremendous success just from that. It's logical and it's easy.
Sure.
And look, the reality is Affirm has got what, a 95, 98% approval rate.
Almost
but
100.
Customers don't know that.
Yep.
And they feel awkward, and they don't want to submit an application and get turned down for a brake job, right? But if you text it to them, they will click through that link while they're sitting there watching TV. They will. And then no visit. This is where we say, hey, you're at a 30,000 mile service, or hey, you should be up for your next oil change based upon your last visit and your mileage history. If we can give them a logical reason that their maintenance is due, we're seeing about a 16.5% booking rate there. So I know this is a data-rich presentation. There's a lot of stuff that I threw at you, but I wanted to talk about this because I really believe that any dealership can attack these 3 areas of profitability, whether they got AI or not, right? So that's before the sale, get that appointment scheduled, and offer them the additional services that are logical and are needed. During the visit, let's pay attention to the customers and not have a profit leak because we got silent defectors. And then after the sale, let's use informational marketing, not promotional marketing, right? If we can be targeted and we can send out that informational marketing, you're going to have much more success at booking those appointments. So there you go, Ted.
Derek, super timely. And Sarah, I mean, this is the latest and greatest and spot on with AI.
It is, Ted, and this is so exciting, Derek, as you mentioned. These are big opportunities for dealerships to really capture their retention and really keep more customers coming into their service department. So congratulations on all that you have built with Numa and all the success you're continuing to see.
Well, thank you.
So now if our audience wants to drill down on these stats and find out how it's going to work for them, Derek, best way is to reach out to Numa.com. You tell us.
Yeah, if you go to Numa.com, there's a request a demo page. You can request a demo. You can email me, Derek at Numa.com. It's super simple, and I'll get you with the right regional sales manager. But we love your audience, Ted. Anything that we can do, even if they just got questions about this, we'd love to talk about it.
Derek Simonds, everybody. Numa is the big name, and he's here on the Fixed Ops Roundtable. So, Derek, thank you very much, and thanks for kicking things off with this and this amazing information. So, everybody, for more information, Numa.com. You can also reach out, email to Derek@Numa.com. Derek Simonds, everybody, from Numa, here with us today at the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
Thank you both.